Welcome back everyone to YuGiOh Pulse. I'm David and today we have a discussion video. I would like to talk about what the best decks would be if Konami were to go ahead and make a ban list addressing the obvious powerhouses that are Adamantipator and Eldritch variants. For starters, I'd like to say that we don't know whether or not we will get a ban list after June 1st. That being said, let's pretend that they do hit some of these problems, causing the online format to be rather black and white. I'm going to list just a few decks that I think could make a splash in that theoretical cycle. Speaking of splash, I want to start off with Hand Loop Water. These variants of Atlantean and Mermails have proven to be very powerful with their ability to make massive boards while simultaneously ripping cards out of your hand before you can even start your first turn. Let's take a look at what this deck has to offer. To begin, its extra deck is insane. Seriously, have you ever seen what Water has access to currently? It's not bad enough that Water can OTK, hand loop, and recur with incredible consistency. It also has the ability to just play regular old plus ultra Yu-Gi-Oh! Now on to the cons of the deck. While it can arguably be said that this is the best deck going first in the whole game, it definitely has its kryptonite. Going second in general can be a chore, and whereas it is a heavy combo deck and really isn't meant to methodically dismantle already established boards the way other more balanced decks can. It doesn't main deck but just a small amount, if any, hand traps, and this is a detriment to it. Also, you can almost pick any generically wide-played floodgate in the game and quickly realize it's probably good or very good against Water. I'm not saying after siding and whatnot this cannot somewhat be mitigated, but there isn't as much leeway to side in Water because it does mess up the synergy of its combos. Overall, I rate Hand Loop Water as one of the best, if not the best, going first deck in the game, but after discussing it with veteran players of the deck online and in groups, they ultimately told me it can be a bit of a glass cannon. Until we get back to real life Yu-Gi-Oh! And address the current state of the game, no one can for sure write this deck off though. That's a reality. Moving on. Next we have Sky Strikers. Yes, that's right, Sky Strikers. Now this deck is personal favorite of mine and is what I am currently playing in this quarantine format we find ourselves in. And I found it quite powerful and impactful even though banlist hasn't dropped yet. I am recording this video on May 25th, 2020, and ironically right now we are getting news that Striker has actually won the online event and it's causing a bit of a roar amongst the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. This deck, unlike Water, has an amazing going second strategy. With cards like Lightning Storm, evenly matched, multitudes of hand traps, it's easy to see why it is better at getting rid of those proud boards your opponent has spent his hard time making. Striker's actual game plan is rather compact in the deck and allows for a wider variety of tech cards to be played around it to supplement it. Kagari at 3 is a very underrated plus to this deck that I'm not sure the broader community has yet to fully realize. It adds a crazy amount of recursion and resiliency to the deck that even 3 engaged Striker couldn't manage with just one Kagari. I think the downside to this deck is that sometimes because it's a spell-based deck, it can be its own worst enemy. It doesn't necessarily have crazy bricking issues, but when it does, it can open hands that are downright pass your turn type of unplayable. Graveyard Banishment Floodgates and Imperial Order can really just auto-lose you the duel, and going first, unless you open your own floodgate, your board is really lackluster as well. While I think this deck is definitely a sleeper among the format, we are just going to have to see what representation it could have once we all get back to normal dueling at high tier events. Next, I would like to add Salamangreat as a top tier contender. This has been around for years now, and somehow through sheer anime willpower keeps itself worthy of playing. With its great balance of board breaking, going second, and first turn set up ability, I just wanted to quickly say we cannot count this deck out. It's proven to be a community favorite, and I won't harp on it too long, as this deck has been around forever, and you've probably played it against in a tournament, or you've played it yourself in a tournament a time or two, and I think we all know what it's about. I hope great things can still happen for this deck because it is one of my favorites as time goes on. Lastly today, I want to talk about a couple of decks I find overall to be about the same in power, but totally tier 1 worthy and could make any event they play win. Dinosaur, Mekk-Knight variants, and Orchest. All three of these decks are ones that are just waiting right under the ceiling and are ready to take over once the current state of rock and zombie is brought down to a more fair level. They all have great strategies. They can break boards and set up their own. Before Secret Slayer was released, these decks were all the rage online and doing spectacularly in it. They have no want for more power. They are all only outshined by what is currently going to be known as the full power Secret Slayers in Yu-Gi-Oh! History books format. But once the dust settles, a few ban lists from now, I can promise you are going to see these decks and more ready to shine. I know I wasn't able to talk about every deck in this video that are powerful, and that's quite frankly because with the Master Rule 2020 updates, there are tons of decks so powerful they could win a YCS. Seriously, if not for this format, we are in the Yu-Gi-Oh! We were headed for a very diverse format, especially at the regional level, where piloting a well put together deck correctly could land you an invite. Let me know what decks I missed in the comments below. Seriously, I love reading all the comments we get and just seeing what all you have to offer advice-wise. It's how I and my team get better at making videos and knowing what you want to see and just learning the full scope of the game and getting better at it. Leave a like. It really does help us know what content you want to see, and it shows that you care about the effort we put into making videos. Join our Discord linked in the description below. It is full access from the start, totally free. You get to talk to me, you get to talk to everyone in the YuGiOh Pulse community. You can join it yourself. We just love playing games online and having fun, streaming. Just if you want to be part of that, come talk to us. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.